Hey guys, what's up? Gardner here, Kami the Hobo himself. And today we're doing a very special video. I was going to include this in one of the latest pickup videos, but I felt like these games in particular needed their own separate video. So this is just kind of a trip down memory lane, and we're going to look at my kind of top 3 Japanese role-playing games on the Sony PlayStation. They mean a ton to me. It's nostalgia. It's, near and dear to my heart, all that stuff. They may not even be the best games on the system, but for me, they're the 3 games that kind of shape the experience of what the regular PlayStation was. So let's get to it. So yeah, looking at kind of every genre, every type of video game. I mean, I love games of all genres, all styles, on all systems, PC, arcade cabinet, I mean, home console, you name it, I love it. I guess looking through the grand scheme of things, for how long I've been a gamer, Japanese role-playing games are kind of my go-to. They're my comfort food. They're the one type of genre that I just love to sit back and relax, and even if the dialogue's corny and for all the faults and all the hits that Japanese role-playing games take, I totally understand, but for some reason that's endearing to me. Like the stuff that some people don't like about that genre, I really appreciate, like the overzealous voice acting and the grandiose, ridiculous stories and stuff like that. It's fun. It's a guilty pleasure, but I just love them dearly. And there are 3 games in particular that really cemented my love for the genre. Now, I had played Japanese role-playing games before these 3, let's say on the Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo and even regular Nintendo. But these 3 on the PlayStation 1 era really nailed it home that yes, this is your favorite genre and you're going to love these games for the rest of your life. So I spent a little bit of money because out of collecting games, I had to have these 3. I had to. The moment I made my mind up that okay, I'm gonna collect retro games. I'm gonna collect the ones that I played growing up that I really loved. There were 3 games in particular that they were the top of the list. I was like, I have to get these 3 titles. And for some of you that are fans of the channel and you've seen my other pickup videos, I have the Japanese copy of 2 out of these 3 already. So that might give a little bit of something away, but if not, we'll just get right into it, and I'll just kind of wax nostalgic about all 3 of these, so maybe a little ranty of a video, but I hope you guys dig it, because it's stuff I love, man. It's the 3 that I love. So the first is a game that actually doesn't get a whole lot of mention and press and love anymore. It's a series that I want to come back in a big way, but the company that creates it has other plans. So this one, Breath of Fire 3, there is a small little crack in here, but I don't even care, man. North American version, complete copy. Yeah, I remember buying this in, not this exact copy, but the first time I owned it. I've owned this game like 4 times, and then I keep trading it in or trading it for other games or something like that. But now I got it, I'm keeping it, it's mine. It's mine, you can't have it. The first time I bought this was in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was at a Babbage's in the shopping mall. So those who don't know, Babbage's then became EB Games, which then became GameStop. Like GameStop bought all of the other smaller big box retail game stores. But I got the game at Babbage's and I was just blown away. I saw this cover, the classic role-playing game, and I was like, what is this? And then, I'm going to do some up-close shots here in a second of the box and how good of a condition it's in. But it just rang to me, you see a box and you're like, I gotta get it. So I got it. I had saved up money. I knew I was going to get a video game, but I didn't know which one. So got Breath of Fire 3. And afterwards, we're walking around the mall, and I just want to go home and play this game, right? But we're going clothes shopping. We're doing all sorts of stuff, because Jacksonville was about an hour drive. So we were getting our drive's worth. We were just going everywhere in Jacksonville and then driving back home. So we get the game, and then we go eat at Red Lobster. I remember it. I even remember the chair that we sat in. Like, this is how vividly I remember this. And while, we're ordering food and stuff like that, I'm reading through the instruction manual. I have all of this, and oh, by the way, check this out. On the back of the instruction manual, Mega Man Legends. Pretty kick-ass. But I remember reading through this, and just there's a world map and an area map, and oh man, and even the stuff where it says like loading and saving, I was invested. I wanted to know everything about this game before I even turned it on. And then it lived up to all that hype. I still adore this game. It's a beautiful game. If you haven't played it, please track it down. Please play it. I actually prefer this to any other game in the series. I am looking to get the Super Famicom and SNES versions of the previous ones, and then I'm going to collect the other ones as well. 4 was also really good, but it can't hold a candle to 3, in my opinion. So Breath of Fire 3, one out of the big 3 that I think really define the system. Now moving on to the second one, kind of fitting that this is the second game we talk about. Thinking about it, this might be my favorite Japanese role-playing game of all time, because there's so much to do, there are so many small mechanics. This really paved the way, in my opinion, for my love of things like Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter Nights. This was kind of that cool bridge between a Japanese role-playing game and kind of a Western computer role-playing game that really dug into like the Ultima stuff, like dig into character choice and dialogue and things like. So I'll show you the game. Star Ocean: The Second Story, super good. So much to do in this game. You can even early in the game you can save up enough money and get a glove that helps you pickpocket. And then certain characters all across the world have very rare things that you can pickpocket that combine those, and you make a big, weapon, or you get stuff that's so overpowered. But you have to know exactly who to go talk to, exactly what to do. So that sort of open-ended, very minute, step-by-step thing really kind of sprouted my love for all types of role-playing games. So Morrowind, any of the Elder Scrolls stuff, even like MMOs. You could deck out your character with certain abilities and mix and match stuff, and they could be good at stuff like painting and cooking. And there was so much to that game, and I've beaten it many times, and I would love to do a Let's Play on it, but I also don't have 80 hours to dedicate to a Let's Play. But I do think, at the end of the day, Star Ocean: The Second Story is kind of the cream of the crop in regards to Japanese role-playing games. So the last one, if we have 3 games that kind of define the PlayStation 1 as far as role-playing games, I think this is the one that set the love of just kind of video games in general for me. And I own this game in many digital forms. I have it on Steam. I have it on PlayStation 4. But I needed to own the actual disc again. And I needed to own the exact type of copy that I had. And I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. But Final Fantasy VII. I know people say it's the most overrated game, all this other stuff. But this is the game. This is the game for me that kind of set everything else in motion. So it's always going to have a spot near and dear to my heart. I am going to do the close-up shots and everything. It is a complete black box copy. It even has the typo on the back of the box. So stoked about that. Because that's the exact one I bought. I bought the first print, first run. It has, and I'll show a close-up of it, but it has the I in Masterpiece is like out of sync with the rest of the text. So I had to look and I had to scour everywhere to find a typo copy of Final Fantasy VII Black Box Complete. Found it, couldn't be happier. I mean, what is there to say about Final Fantasy VII that isn't on YouTube and GameFAQs and, all these places that have like greatest games of all time lists? We all know it, we all love it. Well, some of us love it. Other people not so much. They think it's super overrated, which, fair play. I do think with Final Fantasy, your first one's probably your favorite. My first was actually Final Fantasy IV, which I do have a soft spot for. But the one that I really felt invested in was 7. And I remember, so shout out to Dale, if you're watching right now. We would wake up early and go... we would wake up early for school, and this is middle school time. He lived right across the street from me. So I'd go over to his house and we would play before school. Now, I don't wake up early for anybody, for any reason, for anything. I would wake up at like 5:30 in the morning I had a little notebook where we drew maps of the areas, and I'd go over there and we'd play before the bus came to get us at 7:40 or so. So we had a good hour and a half, 2 hours to play the game, and that's how we played it. And then after school, we'd get homework done, then I'd rush back over to his house until, you know, I got a PlayStation. Or I think I had a PlayStation at the time, but I didn't own the game. But he did. So we played his copy, and then after we beat it and we loved it, and oh, this is amazing, then I went and bought one. And just those memories, you know, just very, you know, they shape the rest of your life. And that's why I love Final Fantasy VII so much. Yeah, it may not be the best one in the series. It may not even be the best Final Fantasy on the PlayStation. You could argue that 9 is kind of the top tier experience for the PlayStation 1. But 7's my favorite, man. I mean, you know, over the course of the whole deal, Final Fantasy 12 is my overall favorite in the series because I think it just did amazing stuff, and I love that game. But 7 is the one that started it all for me. It really sprouted my love of the series. Now I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. And, you know, I think these 3 games, the fact that I own these 3 is... These are the 3 that I got into collecting for. So... I mean, these 3 right here, we got them, complete inbox, great condition, a few scuffs and cracks on the cases, but nothing outrageous. I'm just so happy with those, and these deserve their own video. That's how I feel about it. They deserve their own video. But if you have any favorites on any specific system, let me know. Do you have kind of those set games for each system that sort of define the system? Because for the PlayStation 1, these 3 are it for me. Like, I know there's working design games, the Lunar games, you know, Grandia. There's tons and tons of RPGs. I mean, if you're talking a heavy hitter for Japanese role-playing games, PlayStation 1 is it. It is your system. That go there, collect all of them. You'll never have a downtime in your life, basically. So these 3, probably my 3 favorite games ever, as far as PlayStation 1 games go. I just decided to do a video. We could have bundled them in, but I thought they needed something. They needed their own video, really, if we're being fair. But hope you guys liked the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you have more Japanese role-playing games on PS1 that you like more than these 3? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear what your tastes are. What are you collecting? That type of stuff. But yeah, hit me up on Twitter, twitter.com/KamiDahobo. Always leave a comment here on this video. You can also hit me on Facebook, facebook.com/KamiDahobo. And of course, head to KamiDahobo.com for all the show notes, all the episodes of these past pickup videos, you know, unboxings, brothering around, podcast archives, the whole work. You got everything there at KamiDahobo.com. But hey guys, until next time, we'll see you soon. Peace.